You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and yesterday I did my top 10 favorite male anime characters, and now we're doing the inverse of that with my top 10 favorite female anime characters. Once again, there's only the one rule, only one character per franchise. Keep in mind, just like last time, this is just my opinion and is not based on any objective analysis, and on top of that, it is not necessarily definitive because I've seen a lot of anime and may not remember certain characters or may be leaving something out unintentionally. I've actually changed this list several times and re-included different characters multiple times. Also, side note, in the last video, there was kind of interest in knowing what game I was playing in it. Just for completionist sake, I'll say all three that I used. At the beginning, I played Legend of Dynamic Goshuden Hokai no Rando, which is a Game Boy Advance game that's a RPG using a bunch of Go Nagai characters. Then later on I used Gantz the game and Devilman the game for PS2 and PS1 respectively. But yeah, there's that. But yeah, let's get on with it. Number 10. So, with number 10, I have picked Canaan from Canaan. One thing I will say, though, is it has been a long time since I've seen Canaan, so my memory on it is a little bit foggy. But Canaan is a Girls with Guns series, which is a genre I'm very much into. Things like Canaan, Noir, and Kite are great stories. Canaan has supernatural abilities. If I remember, hers has something to do with sight or something like that. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But in the world of Canaan, some people are born with these mutations that give them super enhanced senses. If I'm not mistaken, there was one character that if she talked, it would kill you, or something like that. And like, she kills someone she loved because she tells him that she loved him, or something like that. It's been forever since I've seen the show, so forgive me on my foggy memory on this. But regardless, even with how my memory is a little spotty on it, from what I remember, Canaan was a badass character. She's a typical Girls with Guns type character, and she's a very skilled marksman, very good in combat, has cool special abilities and a mysterious backstory. Because, if I remember correctly, you never actually learn her real name. And if you do, it's in the final episode. Again, I don't remember if she actually ever has it revealed. Apparently, Canaan was based on a video game. I've never played said game and didn't know it existed when I first saw it, but apparently it is. But yeah, that's number 10. Number 9, Yuno from Future Diary. Yuno is a yandere. And yandere is another type of female character I very much enjoy. Yuno is obsessive, kind of stalkerish, and over-the-top fucking crazy when it comes to how she obsesses over Yuki. But it's that crazy obsessiveness that keeps Yuki alive for a lot of the series, because she's also incredibly protective over him. Future Diary itself being a series of, a battle royale to the death for the person to become the next god, and Yuno is one of the people involved in that game. There's a lot more backstory behind her and how she got in this game in the first place, but I'm not going to do spoilers here, just like I didn't do spoilers last time. Number 8, Shiro from Deadman Wonderland. Deadman Wonderland characters have been on both of these lists so far, which would come as no surprise, being as it is one of my top 10 favorite animes. Shiro is Ganta's friend and protector, who he grew up with. He doesn't remember a lot about her when he first meets her in the prison, but as it turns out later on, he begins to get memories back of her, and remember that they were, kids together, and they grew up together, and she's always kind of been sort of his protector of him, taking on the persona of Ace Man to protect him. Once again, Shiro has a completely other side and other half that's a lot darker, but without spoiling anything, I'm not gonna get into that. Suffice to say, Shiro is an excellent character. Number 7, Cutie Honey. Cutie Honey is easily one of my favorite Go Nagai franchises. I'd say it's probably second after Devilman. But Cutie Honey herself is an android who can shapeshift into multiple different forms to help her accomplish her mission in fighting against an evil group known as Panther Claw. Each ability she has different abilities, such as Hurricane Honey being able to drive or pilot any vehicle, Misty Honey having an incredible singing voice, Cutie Honey, the main one, having super strength and super fighting ability. Cutie Honey herself has a motive in behind all this, where her father was killed by Panther Claw, and she's out for number 1, revenge, and number 2, to prevent them from stealing his invention, the atmospheric element destabilizer. There have been many versions of the character, and all of them are very good. Even the live-action movie was pretty decent. Not as good as any of the animes, but still decent. And if you want to watch the movie story, but better, just watch Cutie Honey, because it's the same thing, but better. But yeah, that's Cutie Honey. Number 6, Sawa from Kite. Kite was the first hentai I watched because of the story. Kite itself is a particularly dark story about a girl who gets abused by her caretaker and had her parents killed at a young age and has become an assassin and has gone out killing people and has vowed to get revenge on the people who killed her family. Many bad things happen to her in the movie that ultimately make it one of those revenge-type stories. Sawa is another Girls with Guns character, but I think she's set apart from a lot of them because of the backstory and just the way that it all plays out. Not to mention, her gun shoots bullets that can make people explode. Sawa's easily one of my favorite Girls with Guns characters, and is one of my favorite anime characters overall. Kite itself being one of my favorite hentais because of the story. And unlike a lot of hentai, Kite has multiple cuts, some of which aren't hentai, particularly the general release cut, which was on Netflix for a while. If you want to watch Kite and don't want to see all the graphic rape scenes, I would say watch the general release version, which cuts out all of those. It does take away some of the motivation behind what Sawa's doing, but it does make it more watchable for someone who maybe can't stomach that sort of thing. Number 5, Miko Mito from La Blue Girl. Yes, once again we have a hentai character on the list. You remember that really cringy line from Neighbors 2, where Seth Rogen's like, they're using their sexuality as a weapon? Yeah, Miko literally does that. Fuck all that bullshit that he's saying there about whatever the hell, pro-girl power, whatever the fuck. Miko legitimately uses her sexuality as a literal weapon. She's a ninja from the ancient Mido clan, and is also half Shikima, so she's a part demon. And she fights other demons, and she fights other ninjas and stuff sent to attack her. Miko herself deals with a lot of tentacles and stuff like that on a regular basis. That's just kind of life for her. And ironically, despite all of that happening, she still insists that she's a virgin and wants to stay that way or lose it to someone who she loves or something like that, which she's clearly not if you've seen the stuff leading up to that kind of stuff. But she just kind of has it in her head that she is, and she has her little sidekick Nin Nin that's like, sure, a virgin. Of course, she gets mad at him for calling out her bullshit, but Miko is kind of goofy, kind of ditzy, but also just overall really badass. She can hold her own in a fight. She has a very unique way of fighting, to say the least. But Miko is easily one of my favorite female characters, and she's my favorite female Toshio Maeda character. Number 4, Jun Fudo from Devilman Lady. Jun Fudo is the main character of Devilman Lady, and is Devilman Lady herself. I typically prefer the manga version for most of the story, although the ending kind of ruins her character a little bit, whereas the anime version I still really like, and the ending keeps her consistent. So I like both versions of the character, but overall I like the manga version better despite the ending. The ending part does kind of piss me off a little bit, but overall I like the manga version of the character. But she's a good-natured, kind-hearted individual who becomes a Devilman and has to go fight demons. She later on meets Akira Fudo, and a romance sort of blossoms between the two of them, and all sorts of stuff happens with that. I don't want to get into spoilers, really, but for the first half of Devilman Lady, you don't even realize it's a sequel, which is an argument that a lot of people have tried to use against Violence Jack. Granted, Violence Jack, it's more towards the end that you find out it's a sequel, but in Devilman Lady, it's not like it was intended to be to begin with. In fact, Go Nagai himself has stated that originally Devilman Lady was just taking the gimmick of, what if Devilman but and woman? Despite that, originally just being a gender-swapped gimmick of Devilman, she very much becomes her own character in her own right, and it becomes a great sequel. I don't like the ending, but I think Jun herself is really cool. And the anime ending's pretty decent. But yeah, Jun Fudo is easily the best female Devilman character. Miki's a close second. Number 3, Lucy from Elfin Lead. Lucy is arguably the main character of Elfin Lead. It could also be argued that Coda is, I suppose. But Lucy is a Diclonius, a mutant that is the next step in human evolution. There are 3 distinct personalities in Lucy. There's her original self, which actually does have a name that's revealed at the end of the manga but is never mentioned in the anime. There's Lucy, which is the evil Diclonius that wants her to wipe out humanity. And there's Niu, which is just a sweet and innocent, childlike character that doesn't know the difference between anything. Niu eventually does actually learn to talk in the manga, but the 3 distinct personalities are just kind of her 3 sides. There's her original self, which is more human and flawed, but ultimately not bad. There's Lucy, which is evil and wants to kill everything. And there's Niu, who's just sweet and innocent and just kind of doesn't understand the world. Lucy has really cool abilities with her vectors, these invisible arms that allows her to have super strength and slice shit up with them. And ultimately, I really like her because of her backstory. Lucy starts out as just an individual who gets bullied and tormented for a lot of her life, and then one day snaps and begins slaughtering people. Lucy is a great character, and she's a big part of why Elfin Lead works, obviously. Number 2, Claire from Claymore. Claire is a part human, part demon character as well. She's a Claymore, which is part Yoma, and she's sent to hunt down full-blooded Yomas. So again, it's a character who's hunting demons while having demon blood in them. Claire herself is an amazing warrior, has a tragic backstory, is super strong, and can hold her own with a sword. The reason she's called the Claymore is because they carry giant-ass claymores, you know, big-ass swords. And all of Claymore is set in medieval times, and Claire herself is a very likable character. Claymores are also known as silver-eyed witches because their eyes are silver. You really get attached to her more as the story develops, and you get more of her backstory involving how she became a Claymore, and the mentor character, Teresa, that she had when she was a kid. But yeah, Claire is really cool. Alright, number 1, Revi. Again, if you've been watching my channel for a while, this probably wouldn't be too much of a surprise for you, because I'm always ranting and raving about how much I really like Revi. Revi is a Girls with Guns type character too, but part of why I like Revi so much is just because of how she is. She's insane. She's fucking sadistic as hell, murderous at all times, is basically a one-woman army, and can take on entire gangs that are sent against her completely single-handedly, and laugh the whole time as she's fucking mercilessly slaughtering them while they're better off just begging for their life. Granted, she doesn't really have an ounce of compassion for that kind of thing, so that probably wouldn't do any good anyway. Revi does have a softer side. She does have feelings for Rock as well, but doesn't know how to handle them, because love and compassion is not something she fully understands. Because her entire life, all she's known is brutality and hatred. So, the feelings she has for Rock are just kind of an anomaly for her. So, to the point where she doesn't know how to handle them and is constantly just kind of at odds with him. They clearly have a chemistry, but she's left him to die on multiple occasions. She's tried to kill him a few times. But, at the same time, she's very protective of him. And whenever anyone else tries to swoop in on him, she gets really pissed off. Or if anyone tries to attack him, she'll just fucking kill them. Revi is the best part of Black Lagoon. She's easily the most skilled member of the Lagoon crew when it comes to gunplay and fighting. And, again, just her over-the-top, sadistic, crazy personality is what really sells me on her. Couple of honorable mentions here. There's Kirika from Noir and Muriel from Noir, so both of them. 2 more Girls with Guns characters that didn't quite make this list, but were close to. There's Yin from Darker Than Black, another great character. Other than that, there's Nina from Monster. I didn't really have enough on her to really put her on the list, but she's a really good character with as much of the series as I've seen so far. And once again, I could go on and on, so we're just gonna stop there. But yeah, that's my top 10 favorite female anime characters. A companion piece to my male anime characters list. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.
さ、聞いたんだけど、君、ガンマンなんだって?
I don't speak no stinking Japanese. Speak English.
Alright, how's this then? This is my place. Can't run a place like this without speaking English. Hey, cutie, you from Loanaport, right? Rumor says that place has more badass motherfuckers than a Supermax prison.